Donald Trump's economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, seems to disagree with Trump quite a bit when it comes to this trade war with China. In fact, the two of them have been feuding behind the scenes, mostly over this interview that Kudlow had with Fox News Sunday.
Who pays for the higher tariffs on Chinese imports? Here's what President Trump had to say this week.
Our country can take in $120 billion a year in tariffs, paid for mostly by China, by the way, not by us. A lot of people try and steer it in a different direction. It's really paid, ultimately, it's paid for largely by China.
But Larry, that isn't true. It's not China that pays tariffs, it's the American importers, the American companies that pay what in effect is a tax increase and oftentimes passes it on to US consumers.
Fair enough. In fact, both sides will pay. Both sides will pay in these things. And of course, it depends.
If it's a tariff on goods coming into the country, the Chinese aren't paying.
No, but the Chinese will suffer GDP losses and so forth with respect to a diminishing export market and goods that they may need for their own.
I understand that, but the president says China doesn't. China, it pays the tariffs. They may suffer consequences, but it's U.S. businesses and U.S. consumers who pay, correct?
Yes, to some extent. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Again, both sides will suffer on this.
So after Donald Trump saw that interview, he went to Larry Kudlow and said, like, "You're killing me, Larry," because of course he's contradicting what Trump had said. And by the way, Trump didn't say that verbatim, but according to one White House official who spoke to the Washington Post on condition of anonymity, Trump called Larry and they had it out. But to be fair, two other officials also spoke to the Washington Post. They described the conversation as cordial and said Trump and Kudlow went back and forth on trade, with Trump telling Kudlow several times to, quote, not worry about it. So he is worried about it. As you guys have probably already seen, there are already farmers in the middle of the country, many of whom voted for Trump, who are very stressed out about this. They're concerned about their livelihoods and they've already lost money. And so it's not necessarily politically savvy for Trump. It doesn't seem like he has a real plan in place. And it's a little bit of a game of chicken with China. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Weird how that works. He doesn't have a full plan in place because that's just who this guy is. There was an article talking about how Gary Cohn, of course, the former economic advisor for Trump, and how he's out. And when he left, he was saying all these nice things about him, we could tell, because Cohn had direct confrontations and conflicts with Trump over things like his tariff plans and things he wanted to do economically that could hurt certain businesses and certain people and certain constituents that voted for him. So there was one point of it that I was reading where they said he felt that there was gonna be a problem with the debate, Gary Cohn, but also he's bringing this back in because he thinks it's a good election issue, which I think we also mentioned too. But one other thing, when Cohn was with the administration, he and Trump would have loud, profane fights over tariffs. And Trump would sometimes tell him to stop arguing because Cohn wasn't gonna change his mind. That's how he operates. So as soon as Kudlow goes on TV and is coaxed into saying something that makes sense, Trump finds a way to come and confront him immediately. How dare you say something that's true? Don't worry about it. Stop trying to talk to me because I'm not gonna change my mind. I'm stuck and stupid.
Okay, so since you're talking about Cohn, I have to give you one other part of this that I thought was incredible. So the Washington Post also reported that Gary Cohn, Trump's former economic advisor, compared Trump's strategy of providing subsidies to these farmers to offset some of the damage that's being done to treating cancer with a Band-Aid.
Oh. Wow.
Lots of strong language.
That's his plan. He's like, we're screwing over all these folks, but let's just give them a few dollars. What dollars from where? Since you're cutting everything somewhere, and everyone's supposed to get these tax breaks that you're talking about. It doesn't matter. He doesn't think about anything. It's just, I said so it'll work.
He doesn't want people to advise him. He doesn't want pros, the very few that he has put in place to actually know what they're doing, to advise him. He just wants yes men. And we see that over and over again.
That's
and
right.
A lot of times they get in these positions where they don't really like what he's doing in their department, but they just go along with it anyway. And I imagine that's gonna be the last time you see him speak out against anything.
Oh, absolutely. He's got the memo.
Yeah.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.